Hi, I'm Lewis Hamilton, and I'm going to be talking through some of my looks for Esquire. I was wearing Louis Vuitton, and when you arrive to the racetrack, you walk through the gates, basically. You walk through the turnstiles, and there's a distance that you have to travel. And I remember when I first arrived on the scene in Formula One, and I was still discovering my style. I also didn't feel comfortable in the environment, in the sense that it wasn't very diverse. I didn't feel like it's a place that you could really be yourself. It wasn't an inclusive environment. It wasn't about be yourself in this space. I think discovering my sense of style, finding a way to be able to express myself. So I was like, I'm being pictured every day in team kit, and you're in team kit for 90 odd days in a year, the same top. And for me, that's a killer. Like, it kills me. So I love variation. I love challenging myself. I love being bold and taking risks in what I wear, and I think how you show up and how you present yourself is incredibly important. So I've gone through a process of discovering the things that I love, designers that I love to work with, and this is just one of those looks. But the fact is that your style will always evolve, and so you'll probably always look back and be like, should I have worn that? I mean, I look back at things that I wore when I was in my 20s, and I'm like, damn, I was completely lost. But through that whole process is a little bit chaotic. I found a bit more of my path through lots of trial and error, and that's really what it's about. It is a creative process, and along the way you get to see the genius of so many different creatives. Particularly if you get involved in fashion, you get to work with brands and you start to see in the background the amazing work they do. So I've been really privileged to work with Tommy Hilfiger, who's such an icon, and then get to work at Dior with Kim Jones and really see this legend in the background working away with a great group of people. So then your appreciation for fashion and style, and particularly like fabrics and silhouettes, really is enhanced. I think probably for people that don't know that so much, it is that journey that you're just trying to find a place where you feel the most comfortable in how you present yourself. Something that gives you confidence, something that makes you feel great. That's really what a garment really should be all about. The next one is Bahrain Grand Prix 2023, this all red look, and that's from Zegna and Elder Statesman. I've always loved Elder Statesman because the fabrics, again, very soft, super cozy. Particularly in my winters, I'm always wearing Elder Statesman. And Zegna, just such a classy brand, and they make these amazing pieces for me. And I've always loved red, so even though at the time I was in another team, I had this red look that I was like, I'm gonna don that here. It was actually too hot for Bahrain, but it's the price you pay for fashion. So I was roasting for 30 seconds in the catwalk. This basically has become the catwalk. So all the drivers in the history of the last 70 years probably, or at least in my time, they're always in team kit. They don't, it's never on their radar of what they wear. They just wear the team stuff and shorts or whatever it may be. But for me, it's something that I've really found myself in. It's given me a lot of confidence. I show up in my own gear, and then I switch over to my team kit. And it's been amazing to see that it feels like it's liberated all the others to be like, oh, I can do that too. And so now you're seeing all the different characters, all the other drivers that arrive to the track, turning up in their own style and coming up with their own, really showing their character. And I think that's been empowering for them too. So I'm really grateful to have been a part of that. I wouldn't say that we're living in the most exciting of times. I mean, for me, one of the most exciting times was when Virgil was here. But there's definitely been a bit of a shift. I mean, the world that we're living in right now is very chaotic with everything that's going on. The fashion world has been hit by many of the different things that have been happening through the world economy. The coolest thing I have to say right now is that we are seeing designers shifting from different brands and moving to different places. And I think what's really interesting is when you do see a designer move from one brand where it's done something for a period of time and then move to another and completely change, rather than often bringing over exactly what they did somewhere else and just doing the same thing with the same template. Working with a new team and coming out with something completely different, that for me is really exciting to see. So obviously in this moment, it's Fashion Week. I've not had the time of recently because I'm in season, so I've missed most of the fashion weeks, but I've tried to stay up to date with it all online, and I'm seeing all these different designs come through, and I just can't wait to get my hands on a lot of them. This is my favorite Met Gala look. This year, I had the honor and the privilege of co-chairing the Met Gala, something I've been working with Anna on for a long, long time, and getting the look right. Most often for that night, it's really all about the women's dresses. You know, women are the stars of the night, as always. And with this, I worked with Grace, who's a dear friend and an amazingly talented designer here in London. She's so tapped into culture, and we wanted to make sure that we honored our ancestral background, our heritage. So we got like shells on the drape. The color, the ivory color, was chosen. I mean, it's not easy to pull off a white suit like that. And obviously I've got this hat on. I decided normally I have my hair out for this event, but I decided to wear a hat. But then also the brooch, jewelry, the detail we went into every year is, for me, is really important. It's really important that we go into that process and we're really thoughtful about that stuff. So that's my favorite look. I don't do well with rules in general. Whether it's bad or not, I've often been a breaker of rules. I don't know why. I don't like being constrained within rules. So I'm more free-flowing. When it comes to fashion, I don't know. I've broken probably all the rules through things that I've put together. I think you have to challenge things in people and people's ways of thinking. Often with rules, this is a certain way we've done it and this is how it's always done, but it doesn't mean it always has to be done that way. So I often like going against the grain and, again, taking risks. It hasn't always worked out. Some of them it's been tragic, but those are the ways you learn. And what will those be? Just how, I guess, ultimately how how I've mixed up different looks. But I've learned from a lot of people, read a lot, seen there's so many young, well-styled people that are on social media that you can see to get good guidance. So I take inspiration from all around. I was very heavily influenced by hip hop and R&B. I'd come home, I'd be watching MTV, and I was always out getting magazines, and one of the people that I always looked up to as a kid was, in terms of style, was Pharrell. I just thought he was the coolest cat ever, and I still do, huge admirer of his. And then I think in watching those videos, there was like a dungaree look. I think people were wearing like Mace back in the day. Was wearing like I think it's him or Aaliyah maybe, it was wearing like these cool dungarees with the top. And that's really what actually brought me to Tommy Hilfiger, I think, at a young age. But I remember going and saving up and going to this second-hand store in the UK. And I remember getting these dungarees and swagging out these dungarees with one undone. So that's one of my early looks. It was very baggy, oversized stuff was what I was wearing back in the day, which I would say still is what I feel most comfortable in. I was honored and received a knighthood in 2021. It's a picture of me and my mum. I was wearing Grace Wales Bonner. I think the reason this is probably actually the most important one from these looks for me is, firstly, is a day out with my mum. It's something I wanted to bring my mum to. I remember taking her to London and taking her shopping, and she's never really experienced that in her life, and so that was a really special moment, just to see her beaming that day, getting dressed, and feeling like she looked like $1 million. So I think for me, the suit, though, again, being really intentional, I thought the importance of going with a young black designer, particularly for something so prestigious, was really, really important. So showcasing the amazing work of Grace, I think, was for me the most important thing. So this is actually the first time that I actually wore Grace to any event. And I'd seen her work, and I got to meet her actually at a fashion show, so I did get to wear something that she had worn. I was really moved by her story, by her passion, how intentional she is, how she's not following trends and she's not influenced by all the noise that's around. She's just at the core doing what she loves, and I just felt connected with her on that. And so in this really the most highest of moments in my life, and having my mum there with me, I naturally needed to be in a suit. I don't like wearing dicky bows or ties, so together we put this look together. And as I said, I don't know if there's any, particularly people coming from where I am, that have worn Grace to such a prestigious thing and to receive such a prestigious award. So I thought that was a really special first day, and that's ultimately then led on to other things we've done together, so like the Met. So I love Grace. The best bit of advice I got was when I was a kid. My dad told me to never give up. So that's always been underlying the most important bit of information that I got as a kid, because that's been ingrained in me my whole life. But the other part was really, I think, came from myself, where I said always, I tell myself to continue to believe in myself. That's been the most important bit of advice I've given to myself every day. Just remind yourself to believe in yourself. self-belief has been key to getting me to where I am today, and has been the most empowering thing. I open up my wardrobe in the morning and I've got stuff all over the place, and I don't like things unorganized, but I literally look in and I'll be like, geez, what goes with what? And it can be really stressful sometimes, procrastinating, trying to figure out what you're gonna put on for your day. So one word of advice is don't do that in the morning. Try and do that before you go to bed. It's okay if you wanna be safe, but I feel like you should push the boundaries a little bit. Get out of your comfort zone. I think getting out of your comfort zone is one of the most important things in life. If you're always in your comfort zone, you're never challenged and you're never progressing. So challenge yourself. Do something that can sometimes feel a little bit uncomfortable. In that, you can find so much about yourself, and you can also probably find a lot of growth. Who cares what other people think? That's one of the other things. It's like, who cares what other people think? It's just how you feel. It really, really is the case. And stay off social media and don't read the comments on what people are doing or judging, because it's irrelevant. It really is irrelevant. My first shoot with Lululemon, I'm all in Lululemon, and this is really in the beginning of our partnership. I chose to work with Lululemon, I think similar reasons they perhaps chose to work with me, was that I love that they are so intentional with everything they do. They're really focused on well-being. It's an amazing team. The fabrics are incredible. The actual, the amount of effort the team puts into having that feel, the right feel with the fabrics, was a real eye-opener when I started to see, because of course, initially I didn't know too much about men's Lululemon. It's something you hear from women all over. As soon as I saw those fabrics were being brought over into men's wear, I was really interested. And then to meet the team and to know that well-being was just their sole focus about making people's lives better, and focused on movement, and focused on being present, and taking a moment to breathe, all these different things that they're incorporating just in that health. That's definitely a huge part of my life. And since being partnering with them, it's enhanced my life. That's it. Thank you so much for watching.